What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/am I the Butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe, just maybe that cheeky notification bell too, as it really helps out the channel. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you absolutely can by clicking that join button down below for YouTube, or that link in the description for Patreon and joining up there, but never any pressure to do so. Please look after yourself first, that is most important. And with that being said, let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from Practical Test 840. Am I the arsehole for quitting without notice after my boss went behind my back? Title might make you think not the arsehole, but please read because I'm getting torn to shreds right now. I've worked at a franchise for 6 years, and I also have a second job that I've been at for 3 years. I have set days where I work job 1 on Wednesday to Friday and job 2 Monday to Tuesday. This morning my colleague called in sick at job 1. Boss from job 1 called me and I told him sorry that I am at other job today like usual. He said he understood and hung up the phone. 30 minutes later I get a call from job 2 just as I'm about to leave. They let me know that my boss from job 1 called them and said that he needed me at job 1. I was absolutely mortified and told job 2 that I will absolutely be coming into work today. I wound up calling back job 1 and telling them not to expect me back this week or ever again because my boss had hugely overstepped the boundary. My boss hit the roof instantly and said he would sue me due to needing to close the business for days I'm not there. I welcomed him to try. So I'm sitting here now at job 2. I spoke to my boss and told her that I'd be going full time, as they had been begging me to do so for the past year. My phone is blowing up from boss and colleagues at job 1 because I didn't give them notice, and now the business will suffer and my colleagues will miss out on money due to the store being closed. I feel bad about it, but I'm so angry and embarrassed after this morning. Nah, you're not the arsehole in this situation. This guy hugely crossed a massive boundary by doing what he did, calling up your other boss. It doesn't sound like a great boss to me, and let's face it, if they can't face with one employee being there, not being there for a couple of days, like two days a week, then he's got some serious problems with that business in itself. So absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. But Awkward Velociraptor says, not the arsehole. Why would your boss think it's appropriate to call your other workplace? They should have told him to pound salt. Extra not the arsehole because the old boss threatened to sue you. Do not regret this decision. And KJ says, not the arsehole, boss at job 1 absolutely overstepped bounds. Their poor planning is not your emergency. And Tara Gray says, wow, not the arsehole, job 1 is clearly toxic. I can't understand what's going on in your boss's head or former colleagues there. You are not responsible for your co-workers. Your boss at job 1 has no right to interfere with your other job. That he or she has created a work environment that fosters the idea is kinda scary. Threatening you is an absolute last straw. For legal reasons, you should save all correspondence including text messages and emails from that job. And Taco says, not the arsehole, he made a choice to talk to your other employer. There was consequences to his choice. I think he went from 0 to 100 instantly, which I assume other stuff was going on there. This was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. He made it worse by threatening to sue. And finally, Reen Visage says, if the business fails because one employee can't be there 2 days a week, that business was going to fail anyway. If your presence was absolutely critical to the business succeeding, they needed to be paying you an extremely large salary. If you're in the US and in an at-will state, you most likely were working without a contract. There are some exceptions, and either you could end the business relationship at any time, he could have terminated your employment at any second. Too bad for him that he forgot it works both ways. 2 weeks notice would just be a courtesy, not a legal requirement. He could not successfully sue you. Also, he's way out of line. Don't worry about him as a reference. You can use your other boss. Not the arsehole. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And it seems like there's a lot of workplace disputes going on at the moment because we have Empty Ponegrat with, am I the arsehole for telling my co-workers why I quit? I, 21 female, started working at a coffee shop about 2 months ago. I loved it when I first started. It was hard work but enjoyable and I made good tips. I like my co-workers and the owners as well. For context, the owners are a young couple. The owner I am referencing in this is his wife. Let's call her V. Yesterday when I was working my shift, I saw some things that made me wildly uncomfortable. To start, the manager that works there, I'll be calling her M, does all duties of a manager, but is not technically one. I found out that she is being paid $9 an hour, which is less than half of what Starbucks managers make. This is a family-owned shop in a wealthy part of town. It's criminal how they pay her. It's also important to note that the shop is severely understaffed. Before I quit there were 3 employees plus the owners who both have jobs. I was expected to work and close alone. I got off training less than a month ago, on Friday and Saturday nights, which are the busiest nights of the week. It's also a bakery, so it still gets business at night. At this point, I think they are understaffing to make profit. Anyways, aside from the pay thing, yesterday while I was on shift I witnessed V telling M about completely mundane things. It was extremely inappropriate and degrading. The way she talked to M made it seem like she was a child, not the grown woman who keeps the shop from falling apart. It made me so uncomfortable to see the owners treating the most valuable worker they have with such little respect and regard for decency. I have no tolerance policy for things like this in the workplace. Additionally, the owners tried to implement an illegal practice that requires employees to pay drawer shortages. It's illegal in my state to do so unless written consent is given and only if the deduction doesn't make the worker go below minimum wage. This wasn't an issue until my drawer came up short $7 Friday night. They tried to make me pay it even though everyone else also worked that day. I just had the responsibility of counting the drawer. They ended up dropping the whole thing after I told them I would call the Workforce Commission in my state and report them for illegally deducting my wages. I know it's only $7, but it isn't about the money. It's about the legality and the lack of respect in all regards. Anyways, I quit this morning. I decided it would be appropriate to tell my friend who recently got hired but hadn't started yet what happened, as well as the high school age girl I work with there. I thought it would be important for them to know about the treatment going on. I'm afraid I am the arsehole because I think what I did was right, but I also might not have been my place to contact my co-workers and tell them what happened. If they quit, the place will go under, which I don't feel that bad about because it's the owner's fault they treat staff badly, but I still do feel a little guilty. Am I the arsehole for potentially causing a shop to close down and for contacting my co-workers? And there is a couple of updates after the comments on this one. But personally in this one, you had me as soon as they started deducting wages for shortages in the drawer. And I was like, nah, these are arseholes. These are absolute arseholes and they deserve what they get in my opinion. And I hate it when management think they can just walk over their staff and treat them like absolute crap because they're working for them. It works, as I say all the time, it works both ways. You're helping them make money too. And it does sound like they're just having less staff to make more money in this situation. That's what it sounds like to me anyway. But Pile Driver says, and quote, "That which can be destroyed by truth should be." PC Hodgel. Don't know if I got the name right there. Not the arsehole. If the owners of the coffee shop are treating their employees in an unsustainable way, they're the ones who will deal with the fallout. That being said, I highly doubt that you speaking frankly about your experience working there will lead to the shop's closure. Best case scenario, they have to start treating their workers better. More likely scenario, they will continue to be arseholes with a high turnover rate that they blame on incompetent help. Yes, I've been in a couple of jobs with a high turnover rate just like that because they don't treat their staff well. And Ayu says, not the arsehole. If they don't want everyone to quit, the owner should 1. Not deduct wages, 2. Pay people properly, and 3. Not understaff as severely. Like it's not your fault that the owners suck. What goes around, comes around. And Kato says, not the arsehole. If you accurately told people you already know what's going on, no arseholery involved. If others threaten to quit, they might smarten up their act. And Totally Wonder Woman says, not the arsehole, your co-workers deserve to know how they will be treated, especially the one in high school. In my experience, owners and managers often exploit the fact that teenagers and young people have very little work experience and try to get away with treatment that would not be tolerated by older adults. They're underpaying your manager, verbally abusing her, purposely understaffing, heaping tons of responsibility on new hires, and illegally trying to garnish your wages. Your co-workers deserve to know that this behavior is in some cases illegal and in all cases not okay. And Araden says, absolutely not the arsehole, but you would be if you didn't call to report them for underpaying and making staff cover the till. I get we're in a pandemic, but the reality is these laws exist for a reason. By my bottom dollar, they are claiming every grant and kickback available during the pandemic to help themselves. The manager needs to know that she is entitled to way more and should sue for the difference. Who knows, she might end up owning the shop depending on how much they've underpaid her and for how long. That sort of dodgy practice isn't something that comes up because of the pandemic. This is something they've always done because they've gotten away with it. And we did have the update as well, so update, thank you all for your kind words. After I quit, I felt more confident about the situation. As she tried to start gaslighting me about not understanding reality, she also said several times that it was sad I was quitting over a cash shortage. I made sure to correct her and tell it was her abusive behaviour that made me quit. Update, a lot of comments are suggesting I make the report anyways. I really want to do this, the only issue is they will obviously know it was me and I'm afraid of retaliation of some kind. They know where I live because they had to come pick up the key to the store. The owners locked themselves out from my apartment at one point, which weirded me out, but that's another issue. I know it's unlikely that anything would happen, but I'm nervous nonetheless, and not exactly sure what would be best. I made sure to text the current workers the laws and explain to them why it is illegal, so I'm hoping they will be able to stand their ground. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation, and what would you do in it? Would you report them? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Mysterious Chicken. Am I the arsehole for locking my husband out last night? Yesterday, my husband's friend came to visit. I told them they could go out, just the two of them. But my husband said no, he wanted to just spend the night at home. So at 8:30, I'd put the kids to bed, we have 2 toddlers and a baby, and my husband and his friend said they were going to go to the liquor store for some drinks and mixers. The liquor store is only down the street, so when they weren't back by 9:30, I texted my husband and asked him where they were. He replied at about 10 and said they were just driving around and talking, which was fine, but I asked him if he wanted me to stay up and he said yes, they'd be home soon. So by 11, I was getting kind of frustrated because I was going to be the one waking up with the kids in the morning, and they don't sleep in. So I called them again but no answer. About 15 minutes later, he texted me they were almost home, for me to wait up. Midnight comes around and I'm pissed and tired, so I decided to go to sleep. I don't like leaving the door unlocked while everyone is sleeping, so I locked up, figuring my husband had his keys. I texted him and let him know I was done waiting up and I didn't get a reply. So at about 3 AM, he wakes me up pissed as hell because I had locked him out. Apparently he was completely embarrassed I had done that. He said it looked disrespectful and they had just gotten caught up talking and lost track of time. He had to break into the downstairs bathroom to get in and apparently messed the window up in the process. He told me I should have known that he didn't have his keys because they hadn't taken his car, and I should have checked the key holder before locking the door. Am I the arsehole? Now my Columbo senses are telling me there's more to this story than meets the eye, because how long was he out for? 5 hours? 7 hours? Driving around apparently? How much fuel did they go through? I don't think they were driving around at all. I think they were up to mischief of some sort, but I don't know what, so I'm not going to go into too much what it could be. I remember a story months and months ago that we covered where there was a similar situation going on. The two friends went out and they were out to all hours and weren't replying, and you know, they did get locked out as well, and they came back and was complaining, and eventually it found out that they were having an affair together. But I don't know if that's the case in this situation, obviously, but not the arsehole. You text several times, you said you could go out to begin with, he didn't take his keys, that's his fault. He just wasn't replying to your messages, again, his fault. And the fact that he was expecting you to stay up till 3 AM waiting for him to come in, yeah, no, I don't think so. I wouldn't be doing that either. You're not going to leave the door open because you have children in the house. Absolutely, you was totally right in this situation, and he's an absolute arse for the way he's acting. And TMS says not the arsehole and quotes it looked disrespectful. Red flags. The fact he brings the word respect into it to me is a sign that something isn't right here. That's a pretty dominating word. A normal response on his part would be, it was annoying to be locked out the house in the middle of February, or it was kind of embarrassing to be locked out in front of my friends, not you disrespecting me, the respectful wife. What? Sits up until almost 3 waiting for her drunk husband to return so that she can sweep open the door and then cheerfully function the next day on 3.5 hours of sleep. Leave the door unlocked while she can get her 3 small children to sleep inside. I'd say it's pretty disrespectful of him to expect you to do any of those when he was the one who forgot his keys. And Valerian Spiel says, let's see. Husband left at 8:30 for the liquor store. Repeatedly tells you he's almost home when you text him to ask what's taken so long. Finally comes home at 3 a.m, 5.5 hours later, and is incensed to find you have locked him out. He says that was a disrespectful thing for you to do. Of course, he also said he was almost home and that he just wanted to spend the night at home. Not the arsehole, your husband needs to start saying what he means and meaning what he says, because he doesn't appear to be terribly good at this thus far. And Gepeach says, not the arsehole, you have to lock it when you go to bed, there is kids in the house, but why could he call you or knock or something? Why was breaking in the only option? And Morg In says, not the arsehole, you texted him and told him, he lied to you and took you waiting up for granted. Also, why would he stay out that long without telling you where they were? They couldn't chat at the house. I think he's lying about something. This screams red flag. Now, my investigators, what do you think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from No Surround. Am I the arsehole for telling this guy that his question was creepy? So, I work at Walmart. In the same plaza as this Walmart is a Wendy's. After closing time earlier tonight, I was walking to my car when this young lad sitting on a bench, probably 18 or 19, called out for me. He was in a Wendy's uniform and eating their food, so I assume he was either on his break or had just gotten off. He told me he worked at the nearby Wendy's and did not care for it, so was looking for a new job. He asked how easy it was to get hired at Walmart, so I said it was easy, just apply online, go inside and ask for the manager, Kelly. He asked if Kelly was nice, to which I said yes. His next question of when her hours were was odd to me, but I assumed he just wanted to know when to come on, but his next question really weirded me out. He asked how old she was. Young? Old? I told him that his question was irrelevant and creepy. He asked how, and I said it was odd to want to know the age of someone that you don't even know. He disagreed, so I asked if he could at least see it from my point of view. He condescendingly said no, and then said, just because your head is in the gutter doesn't mean mine is, and then he walked off. I was talking to my daughter about this, and she actually sided with the young lad. She said he probably just wanted to know the age because working for a young person can be really different from working for an old person. Then she agreed that the question only got weird because I assumed the lad was asking for different reasons. Am I the arsehole? I think this is going to be this is absolutely going to be an arsehole situation, simply because OP's assuming a lot from that conversation. And I don't think the question in itself was sinister or creepy in any way. I think I may have asked this question in the past about managers I may be working for. And we're going to jump straight to the comments with this one, with Crackell saying, you're the arsehole. Sounds to me like he wanted to be able to recognize this person so he could approach her for a job interview. Might have just been an awkward kid, so not entirely your fault. If you questioned his intent, you probably should have just blown off the question rather than accuse him of creeping. Just my 2 cents with what you gave me. And Kit P says, you're the arsehole, you make a lot of judgmental assumptions based on very little. And Jadori says, you're the arsehole, but obviously the situation doesn't really matter. He asked a pretty innocent question like your daughter said he might have wanted to know for employment purposes, or he could have literally just wanted to know what she looked like so he could recognize her at some point. But you immediately went to the, oh, he's a guy asking for something about a woman's appearance, he must be a creep. And that was pretty judgmental and unnecessary of you to assume the worst of someone. And Cookie Secret says, you're the arsehole, he probably just wanted to know so he could know better how to act towards her. His question wasn't irrelevant or creepy at all, you honestly sound too high strung. And now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Do you think he was being creepy or not? Let me know in the comments below. Now, once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories. And if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. I still see some of the comments asking for the jelly story when I had to buy thousands and thousands of jellies from supermarkets for one of my previous jobs. And I may cover that maybe in a live stream or something like that. Maybe that's a live stream story. So we may look into that very, very soon. But thank you for being here once again, guys. And if you want to support the channel further, you absolutely can by clicking that join button down below or heading on over to Patreon, link in the description, and joining up there. Oh, and also some of you guys have been asking for like waffle plushies or myself holding the waffle as a plushie. Let me know which one you like, because I've just started reaching out to Makeship, who makes these plushies on behalf of like content creators and stuff like that, and then sell them on your behalf kind of thing. But I think there's a minimum that they have to hit before they actually manufacture them. So there is that. So we have to see how that works. But I've sent them an email and hopefully they will reply to me. If they don't, well, rip, basically. Thank you once again for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Much love, guys.